Hello, everyone. It's Jerry at the Fledge, and welcome to another episode of Every Damn Day. I'm down in the studio. Got my Don't Forget Flint t shirt. I saw a video the other day of water running out of the pipes there again. We have these crises sometimes, and we indict our governor, or we didn't. I don't even know what happened with all that. And pretty soon people start forgetting the problem. It starts to fade away, and we can't forget Flint. We can't forget the other cities that are going to suffer this too. So shout out to Flint out there. Shout out to my friend Joe Walker, the champ, and what he's doing with thisent.com and the summaries that he's writing about the Every Damn Day show. I bet you this show makes it into one of his summaries because the people that I'm about to bring on air are absolutely spectacular, and some of the, I guess, the one of the best stories in Lansing, because you deal with something that I really love. But how you all doing today?
Doing great.
Yeah.
Doing
What
great.
you been up to?
I was working earlier today from home, so that's what I've been doing today.
And I've been working as well
Yeah.
in a new business, becoming a notary, and just kind of getting that process started, as well as, you know, being a dad to the kids.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what today has looked like.
Is there? I gave a shout out at the beginning to Flint and Joe Walker. Anybody you guys want to give a shout out to?
Um, you know what? I want to give a shout out to my son Jeremiah and my other son Roman. They are they're just inspiration, and how that's what all of this is for, right? To be able to have a legacy for them to be able to have and to do amazing things and to have opportunities to have a better quality of life. So I want to shout out them. They're very talented little people.
See, everyone shouts out their parents and their wives, and you guys are the first ones to shout out your kids, and I love it a lot.
Yeah,
How old are these? Are they both boys, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
So Jeremiah's 9 and Roman's 5.
awesome. So starting school pretty soon.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
Are they excited?
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Roman, I mean, it'll be his
I mean,
first year, and so I think we're more nervous, but we'll see how it goes.
yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Because
that's go.
Roman, he already didn't like going outside, like leaving the house, and we were just getting into a nice regimen, dropping him off at daycare. He was the kid that was like, I don't want to stay here, so we were just getting into a nice rhythm. Then COVID happens. And then, all of that hard work just kind of went down the drain. So now we got to start that process all back over again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that process well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
good luck with all that. Let's oh man, what you were talking about with entrepreneurialism, and I told you I fall in love with entrepreneurs all the time, at the beginning of the show there. And what you just said, Paul, was amazing to me, because we talk a lot about generational wealth, we talk about equity and how to do that, and what you guys are doing is, to me, the perfect path for that. So I'm so happy to hear you set kind of the tone for me, because I'm going to come back to that, I'm sure.
Okay.
But before we jump into that too much, do you all mind telling us about yourselves, where you were born and raised, where'd you go to school, what's your deal?
Traditionally the lady would go first, but I think I'm gonna go first because I'm an import. I'm not necessarily from the Lansing community. So I was born in Milwaukee, and grew up and was raised in the Chicagoland area. And I went to Ritchie's High School, which is now closed because they didn't have funding. And yeah, that's I mean, I could go on, but that's a whole nother story. But um, Jasmine and I met in Chicago because she's from here, and yeah, that's kind of, that's kind of where we meet, I guess, without going too deep.
when I brought him back here. So
Right,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
Was
and
was that a tough what do I want to say persuasion to
It
move from Chicago to Lansing?
it was tough because for multiple reasons, because it's like doing something that you've never done before, but you have to do. It's like I felt like I was on this hero's journey, and so, but she is an amazing woman, and so I just imagine having this life with her, and I knew that if I didn't go, I wouldn't have been able to have the life that I have now with my children and my family.
Yeah. My daughter went to Loyola Chicago for her first year, so I spent a lot of
Mhm.
time on the north side
Yeah,
with her, and I just love Chicago. But she had never lived in a big city like that, so she had
yeah,
1 year and was like, "All right, I got it. I want to come back to MSU because not necessarily just because it was a big city, but that was part of it. She was a little homesick, but
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
so
So I'm from Lansing. I was born here, raised here. I went to CLCCA for elementary school up until third grade, and they closed. And then I went to Windermere Park Charter Academy on the west side from like fourth grade until seventh grade. And then for eighth grade, I went to Gardner for a semester, and then I went back to Windermere. And for high school, I went to Everett. So shout out to all the Vikings out there. I know that there's incredible alumni. Um, and yeah, and so after high school, I wasn't really doing much here. And so I decided to go to Chicago. I have lots of family there. My sisters live there, my grandparents. So I was like, I'll just go and kind of see what happens. And I ended up staying, and I met Paul. And yeah, then we came back and started our family, and we've been here ever since.
yeah, I'll fish bunch. But yeah, I'm a Mustang. Are they still the Gardner Mustangs?
They were the Mustangs. I don't know anymore,
Yeah, I'm
but
not sure either. But I went to Gardner. I went to Everett for 1 year. Then I moved to the north side so I could go to Eastern.
yeah,
But south side. You lived on the south side?
yes, yep.
All
So
right.
I grew up like right across the street from Benjamin Davis Park, and we still live on the south side, not far from there. So
Yeah. I live by McLaren off from Green Lawn,
yeah,
Cedar and Green Lawn.
yeah,
I like to say I live a block and a half away from the hospital I was born in, and I work a block and a half away from the high school I graduated from. So I'm just this Midwest hillbilly that stayed at home.
yeah.
It was not true though, but
Right.
because I traveled everywhere. But anyways, um, thank you for sharing that with us. Uh, what was the path to? All right, so you guys meet in Chicago. I don't know where you got married and all of that. Do you want to talk a little bit about that? Like,
Yeah.
were your children born in Chicago and then you came back to Lansing, or
So we were pregnant with our first when we moved back.
okay,
That's kind of what pushed us to move back. Is just like my parents are here, and it was just a better support system for us. And so we came back, and when our oldest was like 2, we decided we should get married. And that's kind of where we wanted to take our relationship. And then a few years later, we had our youngest. And so we got married here in Lansing. Both of our kids were born here. So yeah.
Yep.
that and nothing to add, Paul. That's what
Well,
happened.
well, it's funny because that is what happened. Like one day, you know, I picked Jasmine up from work, and then I was just like, "Yeah, we're about to go get married." She's like, "What?" And
Yeah.
I'm like, "Yeah, it's time. We're going down City Hall. We're about to fill this paperwork out. We're about to do this thing." And and then after that, we had like a small ceremony,
Yeah.
with a very intimate wedding with our friends and family.
Family. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very small. But yeah, like he kept calling me at work one day and was asking me like, what's your mom's maiden name? And like this rant, I'm like, what are you doing? Like, what's happening? And then, yeah, he picked me up from work and he's like, so I got our marriage license. And I was like, great, let's go do that. So, yeah.
This is somehow like 1,000 times more romantic than any other story I've ever heard. You didn't fly to Paris and get roses and down on the knee. We're about to go get married.
Yeah.
Because I feel some energy that was there that, that you guys, like, that worked for you. That was the way it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
So,
we're very like chill and relaxed, kind of go with the flow. And so
we got married in trucks. Like,
yeah.
Yeah,
we both wore Chuck Taylors. So, yeah.
I'm not very good at reading emoji, but I'm assuming that Chantel is one of your friends or something. So, hi Chantel. So, how did you get to what you're doing with Stay Rooted? And I'd actually say even more entrepreneurial stuff based on what you said with the notary and all that we'll get into. But what made you do Stay Rooted?
Oh yeah, let me do this part because we both have like two perspectives on it. So, the pandemic happened, and well, first of all, I have this undying love for plants, and it started like years ago, and I'm just bringing plants in the house, and Jasmine's like, "What are you doing? Like, you have to stop buying plants, And
I just want to add that this was before like plants were cool.
Yeah.
So at the time, only like older people had plants in their house. I'm like, bringing these in the house, like I'm not taking care of them. Like, what is going on? And so, yeah.
And I would try to grow like pineapple is my favorite fruit, so I would always buy pineapples and try to grow them, and always failed at them. And I would name them and everything. And it's like, you know what? I'm going to just buy like regular plants, And I started buying plants. And Jasmine's like, again, this is what old people do. What are you doing? And, a friend of mine, actually, you probably know her, Cheryl Benjamin. She gave me a peace lily. And till this day, we still have that peace lily. And, I've taken care of that plant. We've taken care of that plant forever. Yeah. And, so the pandemic now happened. And, in my mind, it's like, okay, people can't go outside, right? And people need some type of connection with nature, right? And we're in this time where it's this virus that is attacking people's like respiratory system. So it's like, plants could help out with this, and then, Jasmine and I are always on the same page about things. And so I'm having this revelation internally, right? And then Jasmine comes to me and is like, we should, and this is why I feel like you should tell your part story now.
I feel like also, like, let me add that before the pandemic, we had both really grown to love houseplants.
Yeah, this is true.
And we have like over 60 of our own houseplants. Like, I couldn't stop buying them. Paul can't stop buying them. Every time we leave the house, we come back with a plant. It's pretty bad. So yeah, one day I just come up to him and I'm like, I think that we should like sell plants online.
Yeah.
And I kind of thought he would think that I was crazy and be like, go back to the drawing board, Jazz. This is ridiculous. And he was like, yes, like we should do this. And so, we came up with our plan. We worked on it for like months and months and months before we launched. And even before we launched, Paul was like, it's not time yet. Like, we're not ready yet. And I'm like, we're never going to be ready. Like, we just got to do it and we'll figure it out as we go. And even when we first launched, it was like,
what are we doing?
Yeah. So we didn't even like test out mailing plants. I think we just assumed that it would still be easier than what it really was. And so once we actually got orders in that first day, I'm like, we need to go to the store and get like packaging material. and like really figure this out. And so, like, I would say a year ago when we launched, the way we shipped plants was probably really not great. And we've really just like tweaked it and kept improving our process. And still to this day, like, we're constantly looking for better, more efficient ways of shipping plants while also still being sustainable and like keeping, you know, all the things in mind when we're shipping things out. But yeah, that's how we got started.
So I want to go back to how this. Were you in Chicago when you started your love of plants, and how this? Because a lot of people will think Chicago's this concrete jungle, right? And what are you doing with plants in Chicago? And they're for old people. That breaks my heart because I love plants. But how's a kid from Chicago fall in love with plants? And I think I might know why because I've walked around enough. But
Well, you know, it's funny because like in Chicago, I never got a chance to tap into who I was because I didn't know who I was. And I had all of these distractions, whether it be like friends and just, I was just in the streets, like just running around, just not knowing, um, lack of knowledge of self. And when I came to Michigan, to Lansing, Michigan, like I started to connect and find out who I am as a person, like, and the things that, I love doing. Like I stopped doing a lot of stuff and I started doing stuff that I love doing. And one of those things was like plants. I'm like, I'm really into this plant thing. So it started when I was in Lansing.
I'm going to cut that clip out someday of what you just said, and it's going to be labeled, here's a good reason to fall in love with entrepreneurs. Because it really is a journey of yourself. And we're going to actually get to that in a little while.
Yeah.
I love what you just said there. And then was it just Paul was so passionate about it, Jazz, that you couldn't help it? Or was there a little bitty plant you saw one day and said, oh, it's so cute, I'm in love with plants now?
So to be honest, I think it was like a combination of things. I think it was like knowing that Paul loved them. I probably did see like a little cute plant somewhere where I was like, this will be nice. And then also like my best friend really decorated her home very well with plants, and I never really considered the decor aspect of it in that way, I guess. And now it's like, apartment therapy features plants all the time. And, it's almost really rare to see, interior spaces without plants nowadays. And so I think it was just a combination of sources and energy of like, yeah, I should like this too. And I just started buying plants that I found were really, really cute or really interesting. And pots, like I really love finding cute new pots. Paul and I started this thing a few years ago where if we go out of town, unless we're flying, but if we go out of town and we drive somewhere, we always find a plant shop and buy a plant and bring it home. So we have like our DC plant and our Chicago plant and like, Grand Rapids, and just kind of all these fun places where we can just bring them back home.
So I also want to add to this. Jasmine's like leaving this part out. Like one of her superpowers, like one of her abilities is she can identify trends before they happen. Like,
Stop.
No, sincerely. Like, and so now, like, when you look at plants and how trendy they are, it's like, of course, Jasmine, you identified this trend like a while ago, and it was just a matter of time before the world, got wind of it. So
I won't accept that, but okay.
Yeah. I've watched this. Yeah, I'm a witness to her identifying trends before they happen. It's like it's crazy.
You guys are beautiful. I just love this relationship here. So, all right. There's only one plant I've ever had in my life. It's about 8 feet tall now. It's a bird of paradise.
Yes.
Oh man!
And I bought it when my daughter passed, and I don't want to talk about that part of the story today. And it became a very special plant to me. And I was just when I was in LA, you know, these big birds of paradise get that bird looking thing on them, and mine hasn't done that yet.
Yeah.
And I really want to try to make that happen. I need to repot it.
Yeah.
So I got a question about that in a little bit, but let's talk about a little bit of. Might have the boys coming.
Yeah.
So I put your website up in the comments here. So this is obviously there's a shop on there, and then also your Facebook page is Stay Rooted Shop as well. Just so if you want to look at some of the plants, like every plant that you have, is this represented on the shop?
Yeah, like every plant that we sell is on the website. But when we do pop-ups and stuff, most of the time we have plants that aren't on the site. And so that's always a fun way to like get something new and different. We try to have our inventory for pop-ups just have more variety, I guess, in size and in variation and actual plant type. So yeah, we change it up a bit. So sometimes one based off of just availability. Sometimes we can't find the plants that we typically have. They're just out of stock. Like right now, prayer plants are really hard to come by, and everybody wants them. And we search high and low, and sometimes we just still come up with nothing. So
For what?
They're called prayer plants.
Oh.
And so, instead of getting a prayer plant, we'll get something else. So our inventory on our website is constantly changing, based, just on requests that we get from people, availability, and just things that we see that we like, that we think that you guys will like too.
I immediately saw that Arabica. I can't say that word right. I never have been able to say it right. I've read that word 1,000 times. Coffee plant.
The coffee plant, yeah.
And I saw it sold out, but that was like, does that grow a coffee cherry? I think they're called.
Yeah. It's a berry, and then it turns into a coffee bean. But it's not going to be enough to make coffee, but you'll see a couple pop up, which is really cool. It's like people really, really love them. They go by really fast always, because they're just such a cool plant.
Yeah.
And I'm also looking for a pineapple tree. Have you successfully done it yet?
No. And part of it is climate, like we just don't have the climate necessarily to successfully grow things here. And I mean, you can create the climate, with enough time, effort, energy, and money, but making it a priority, I think, just hasn't been a thing.
Right.
I have an avocado and a black olive tree that I think it's called a tree that I've got in my hoop house right now that I'm going to try to keep outside and see if I can survive the winter. And I've got a whole strategy that involves worms and chickens and double hoop houses and all this. I'd love to show you guys that sometime.
Yeah.
I want to show you that this is my wife Shannon. She's the executive director of the Fledge Foundation. I'd love to Stay Rooted Shop. I'd love the Stay Rooted Shop to join the wellness event on October 9th. And so they're going to send you an email. And then, our great friend Tony, you'd be hard pressed to find a more authentic and supportive business couple in Lansing. Dang. I think Tony's going to pass the reign from power couple to power couple.
I don't know, like Tony, like you and your wife are hard to beat, so I don't know.
So, one thing that caught my eye as I was scrolling through the store is you've already done a mash up with Desmond, huh? With Moneyball.
Yeah. We were typically for holidays, we try to offer something fun or unique. Sometimes it's kid oriented and sometimes it's not. And so we were talking about Father's Day, and we were like, what can we do for Father's Day that's not like cheesy and it's cool? And Paul had the idea of like, let's make basketball planters. And I'm like, yes. And so we were just like talking, and Paul works at Moneyball. And so we were like, we can get small balls at Moneyball and do it. And yeah, they're just super cool. We love the way that they look, and they're just such a fun thing to have in your home. So.
All right, plug your ears, Tony. I'd suggest a fledge mashup, but you might not want to sell the kind of plants that my crowd.
Let's talk about that. Separately from Stay Rooted,
And let's put one more. See how everyone. Tony didn't quite use the word love, but he certainly put it out there. Love all the partnerships and pop-up shops that other fellow small businesses. It's collaboration like that make Lansing great. Way to go, stay rooted. So, that's that actually is way better than like my shout out thing at the beginning, to have a mashup like that and starting to support each other. I told you guys I was going to love this conversation. What are we not talking about with Stay Rooted that we should be talking? Oh, I know one thing. Did you lose a bunch of money on that first shipment? Like trying to figure out how to put it in there, buying the wrong stuff, or?
I wouldn't say lose a bunch of money, but I think we spent money on like packaging materials in an inefficient way. So instead of buying packaging in bulk, like we were buying like a box at a time, which I mean, that was the best that we could do at the time. And so, I think that, we've just learned and grown so much. If there's ever an issue with shipping or a plant once received, we're happy to, talk about replacement or credit or something. If you have your plant for a couple months and then it dies, unfortunately, we may not be able to help. But, we're always open to chat about problems you're having with your plants, whether they're Stay Rooted plants or other plants. We get so many messages about, I got this plant when a family member passed or whatever, and it's not doing great. Like, what can I do? Because it's really important to me. We get so many messages like that, and we always want to be available to help out. And so we're kind of chatting about some ways that we can do that more efficiently. Like, maybe a phone number you can text with a picture of your plant, and we can quickly respond that way. So, we're just working on ways to improve the way that, we communicate with our plant fam.
So, I was going to get to that a little bit when I brought up the Bird of Paradise. Do you have other services besides, like, do you go to anybody's home and say, all right, here's what we're going to do, and charge them for that?
We don't. And I think that like we may be interested in doing that in the future. I think we're at this spot in our business now where we're kind of like reevaluating the way that we do everything. Like we're really like, okay, we've been doing this for a year. What's going great that we love, that we want to keep doing? What's not going great that we may want to tweak or just get rid of completely? What do we want to try and add? So I think we're kind of just like jotting down all those ideas and really trying to figure out like what's next. So,
and there's the perfect lead in to the program you started 2 nights ago. You want to tell us a little bit about that? Make Tony listen. Unplug your ears, Tony.
So we're participating in One and All with Leaf and Jerry and Erica and so many other partners, and we're really excited to just soak in so much knowledge and grow as entrepreneurs and business owners, and really just connect with other entrepreneurs. We're really, really excited about just this stage of, I feel like we're in this stage of growth, like heavy growth. We're just really excited to just keep going full steam ahead.
That's awesome. Sometimes you get into, you've got I'll call it a hobby. I think it was a little bit more, you got a passion, and then you start a business around it, and then all of a sudden that passion isn't as fun as it used to be because you're shipping stuff out and you're taking orders and people are complaining. But that doesn't sound like that's happening at all.
I think from time to time it happens,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
as a general statement, no, like for sure. I think we love doing it. For us, like pop-ups mean so much to us because it really gives us another way to connect with our existing customers and to meet new people. And like I'm pretty sure tons of people will tell you, like, we're like, so you're from North Carolina, like tell us all about it, like tell us your life story, and so we really, really enjoy that aspect of getting to know people and talking about plants and life and just other ways to stay grounded and talk about Lansing and we just that's probably our I'm only going to speak for myself. That's my favorite spirited.
The community part.
The community aspect of it for sure. Yeah.
So, do you ever look at someone that's trying to buy a plant and say, "Nah, you're not going to make a good parent. You don't get my plant."
No, people usually say that on their own. Though.
Yeah, they usually say that.
We try to encourage them.
Yeah.
Like, no, you can do this. You can, and we're here to support you. You know, and whatever amount of, whatever we got to do to support you. We're here for that.
And I think too, like, for us, it's really important to be honest and transparent. We specifically are trying to reach beginner and intermediate plant parents. Right. So that's who our target is. And there are times where we have plants that aren't very beginner friendly. And so if I have someone say, I'm just getting started with plants, or I killed my last plant or whatever, and they're looking at a harder plant, I'll be honest and say, by the way, this plant is really finicky. It just may not be where you want to get started. And so I think just that transparency and letting them know, like, I want you to be successful in whatever way, like anything that I can do to help you get there, whether that's a plant recommendation or, helping you along the journey or giving you tips right now and never talking to you again, like whatever it is, like we just want to help. So.
This is so awesome. I love what your business is. So let me ask you one more thing about that, and then we'll see where we go. What's your operation like? Do you have a hoop house where you're growing, and do you split the plants off? And like if a spider plant, you'll make tons of other spider plants and propagate that way?
So we do some propagation as much as we can, but right now, the way that we operate Stay Rooted, we just wouldn't be able to keep up with the demand by just doing that. And so we're looking to, possibly start a greenhouse and grow from seed and do more propagation and stuff. But right now, mainly most plants come from suppliers that we vet out and make sure that they have quality plants, have a stable root system, good foliage, pest-free as much as possible, and fair pricing. We're really about accessibility and making sure that people can afford to become a plant parent and it's not a huge burden or investment. So just making sure that our suppliers check all those boxes is really important to us.
I'm going to bounce over. Thank you for sharing that. I'm going to bounce over to another question from Sarah, or a question from Sarah. What do you recommend as the number one starter plant for first-time plant parents?
I'm going to give you two. You can choose either one.
Yeah.
First one is a snake plant, hands down. So easy, almost impossible to kill. It can tolerate like regular bright and direct lighting, or it can tolerate low light conditions. You can ignore it for a few weeks and it'll still be okay if you don't water it. It's a really, really great beginner start plant. And then second one to that is the ZZ plant, which same things, but it just looks different. I personally like the way the ZZ plant looks more than the snake plant. It's a little bit more expensive, a little bit more of an investment, but still both top two easiest plants to care for.
You said ZZ? Oh, I see it.
Yeah.
Exactly like that. Okay. I didn't see the snake plant yet.
the snake.
Do you have
plant.
those on your website?
Yep, we do. It might be in there as the scientific name, which is Sansevieria.
Oh, there it is. I
Yeah.
haven't scrolled yet. And they're on sale. There you go. There's a snake plant, $4.
$4.
Yeah.
Oh, I got one of those.
Yeah, they're so easy to care for. I feel like if anybody kills a snake plant, it's most likely because they overwatered it.
Yeah.
It could be because it really can tolerate drought. Usually the way people kill it, if they do, is by watering it too much. So
I think almost every plant I've ever killed has been from overwatering, not the other way.
Yeah.
So what we recommend always is the finger test. So most of the time, the top layer of soil feels drier than maybe the bottom part of the soil. And that's really what's important is the soil that's around the roots. And so we recommend sticking your finger in the soil to actually see if the soil is dry before watering it. Because if too much water is in the soil where the roots are, then your roots can rot and then your plant dies. So
That's a good advice. See, there you should. Do you have a TikTok?
We're just talking about
we have it, but we don't use it because I'm just such like an Instagram head. But that's something that we're gonna work on. We might put our 9-year-old to work since they're all TikTok crazy. So maybe we'll let him have some responsibility with that.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. So Tony and I, one of us is reading the other's mind because I was thinking the same thing. We need to hook up with the land bank and get a green and grow house going. So John Crone, if you're listening, Egypt, if you're listening, let's talk about this because this would be awesome to get a plot and get a greenhouse going and doing something like that.
Yeah, that's on our to-do list. So we're excited about that.
What was the other thing I was going to just ask? Well, let's get away from plants for a little bit. No, your Insta. That's what it was. What's your Instagram account?
Stay Rooted Shop.
Same?
Yeah.
All right. So let me put that there. All right. What you doing with this notary stuff?
Getting started. No, I've always wanted to have a lifestyle that allows me to be the family man that I believe that I wanted as a kid, like to be the dad, to be the husband. And so I love people and I have a passion for real estate. And I just, so I was like, well, I don't want to go all the way into real estate, but I also want to be just in the, community of it, I guess. And easy way to, to make a good living and still be able to, have my time, because I believe time is the most valuable thing, is to be a notary. And I'm just getting started with it, and I'm excited to see where that goes.
So you're going to start a business of your own that you'll go, that you'll do notaries for?
Well,
it's mainly like contract work.
Yeah.
So like title companies will just hire a notary like for each individual job.
Yeah.
So
I've always known what one was, but there's actually a member of your cohort that is Purpose to Sign that has a notary business.
Yeah, I got her phone number, and so he's gonna give her a call.
Yeah.
Oh, sweet. See, connections are happening 3 days into the program, Tony, and look what's happening.
Yeah.
So, okay, that's awesome. How many more businesses you working on?
Oh man, it's crazy. We're
working on something, a nonprofit. And we're still in the very, 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 very beginning stages of it. But we're really excited to share more when the time is right. Yeah.
I can't wait to learn about it on TikTok from Ramona or Jeremy.
Yeah.
What's his name again?
Jeremiah.
Jeremiah. Sorry, I wrote it down wrong. I knew that didn't sound right. So got another thing in the works. Anything else that we're forgetting to talk about?
Well, this is something I like really haven't, told people. But I'm a writer, and
I didn't know what you were gonna say. I'm like,
and I wrote a script for a TV show with a friend, and that is my muse. Like I love to, you know, create stories out of nothing, and just kind of. I'm just like really a geek about it, and I'm just excited to see, where this leads. And Jasmine knows. Like I've spent just, you know, up at night just writing. It's just something I just really enjoy and doing, and so I'm just, we'll see.
yeah, we have a lot of stuff up our sleeves. Like a lot that's just we're just secretly over here working on.
Yeah.
Every time somebody says up my sleeve, I think of that Eric B. and Rakim song. I got another trick up my sleeve. I don't know. Tony will know all the words. I used to do that to Tony all the time, throw out old school rap songs.
Yeah.
So there's so many things I want to talk to you guys about. I'm going to, well, let me ask, do you mind if I ask you how old you guys are?
Yeah, I'm 29.
Yeah, and I'm 33.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Or baby.
I remember, I don't know, there's just a lot of things about entrepreneurs I think they have in common where they kind of bounce around in these different spaces a lot, wanting to solve problems and create things. So,
Yeah.
Are you sending your script out yet?
No, not sending it out yet. We not sending it out yet, but we have looked at some festivals and things of that nature. But I think we're, just in the stage of creation.
Okay.
We're just really um, wrapped up in these characters and the story and just, the possibilities. Like it's just, that's where we're at with it.
Have you met Amaru yet from Greenwood District Studios?
I have, yeah, I have
All right.
him. He came into Moneyball one time, and and I don't know if I like to hear people's stories. I love stories, so I like to listen to what other people have going on, and I just was a sponge, and he's a great guy, and he has man, he's got his hands full, but what he's doing and what that could mean for the Lansing community, oh man, it's amazing. Like I know I'll be there. Like I know I'll be there. Like so yeah.
All right. Shout out to Greenwood District Studios and Amaru. So let's if I had to guess, this is actually the question I want to ask, whether it's your mission or not. But I'm going to go back to the generational wealth. I'm going to go back to, equity. And what do you do every damn day to push your mission forward towards that just beautiful dream or beautiful thing you're going to make? The dream seems like it's too nebulous. This is happening.
I think for me, there are like two things. One is, I would say three things. One is to create. Like, I don't care what it is, but create something. Like I enjoy illustrating. I'm a graphic designer for my day job, and I just, whether you're creating a business plan or creating art or creating a script or whatever it is, like create something. And then second to that is connect. So connect with other individuals who are like-minded, even individuals who aren't. Like we can all grow and learn from other people. Paul and I were talking a few weeks ago, maybe a few months ago at this point, and he asks, what are we doing, like him and I, every day to get to know each other again? Because every day we're someone new. And then, like that same weekend, our friend KT did a poem called Stay Rooted. And before he recited his poem, he talked about that, about how after every conversation, you walk away basically a new person. You've gained additional insight about something in some capacity, or at least you should have. So yeah, just connect with other people. And then the last thing I think is just to learn. I listen to podcasts all the time, reading, just anything that you can do to just improve who you are as a person, I think is really valuable. I'll read a 50-page document about something on the state of Michigan website. Like, I don't care. I just want to absorb as much information as I can. So yeah, those are my three things I would say.
I think I'm gonna say that I definitely I don't do enough. Let me just say that, or at least I don't think I do enough.
That's
You
not
know,
true.
but creating is definitely one of those things. I would like to try to create something every day, whether that be writing or doing something with music, or just anything with creation. Reading something, absorbing some type of information. Jasmine is like a professional at retaining information, and I like envy that. In a good way. Is I would like to do that. I would like to be able to retain, information. And yeah, it's just always this journey of knowing oneself. Like I live by this quote or the saying, and it's know thyself. Like I'm always wanting to know, who I am. Who am I before, all the other stuff, before, all of the titles, who am I? Who am I as an individual? And I'm always just on this journey to try to figure that out and how I can be better. I wrote something on this board, on our dry erase board, that says, what can I do to increase my value as a human being? And I'm always thinking about stuff like that. So yeah.
You guys are amazing. And the serendipity,
Now we made Jerry speechless.
the serendipity about the guest yesterday and Daisy chaining the shows together and her question that I'm about to present to you. So Dr. Lisa yesterday with Rejuvenate has a question for both of you. And the question is, when was that moment that you realized that change comes from within, not from without? That if you want to change the world, you got to change here.
I don't even know if I can pinpoint that moment, but like part of me wants to just say like every day. Like I realize that every day, or have to remind myself of that every day, that it's always about within, first. And so yeah, like I really wish I could just pinpoint that, but I feel like Paul and I are always on this journey of growth, and have been since as long as I can remember, and sometimes it's conscious and sometimes it's not. And we always like to like laugh and reflect about like, Paul jokes with me because he's 4 years older than me, and he always says like, I was where you're at 4 years ago, with my thinking process and where I'm at. And so yeah, like I don't know. I can't pinpoint a specific moment, but it's yeah.
I think, I would agree. I can't pinpoint, a specific moment, but there was this book called The Four Agreements that I read long ago, and that book like completely changed my life, and it helped turn um, outward inward. It helped me say, what, I need to look within myself for the things that I would like to see change in my reality. and yeah, like that book really changed my life.
Yeah. That does happen to be the book that my daughter read last. I don't know if she said that on the show or not, but I know we talked about that.
Oh
And
wow.
I think that's an amazing book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and for the doctor, she literally did a test on her cell age because your cellular age is different than your, I guess, year born age, and it
Yeah.
was at that moment when she was like 39, but her cellular age was 57.
Oh
So
wow.
it was literally inside where she knew she had to change.
Yeah.
But that, talking about vibes, talking about plants, talking about cells, I mean, she was the
It's all
perfect.
connected.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. Yeah.
And you know you can hear your metaphors to plants in everything you guys say.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do the plants, like my cat has a pretty big influence over me now that I've
Yeah.
fallen in love with this cat. Do your
Yeah.
plants, you think, have an influence? Like, do you know what biomimicry is? Where you mimic what biology does, like scientists do it and
Yeah.
engineers do it.
Yeah.
um, Sounds like you guys are doing it with community and life and marriage and
Yeah.
family and all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. And I think, we were very intentional about the name Stay Rooted. And obviously it is aligned with plants, but it's just so much more than that,
Yeah.
And so I just feel like the name Stay Rooted is just a real reflection of us,
Yeah.
and our
Yeah.
journey and what we're always trying to do, is just staying rooted, staying grounded. And yeah.
Because I mean, it's like, you know, the world and everything, and it's you're gonna be pulled in so many directions, and you have to have that. Uh, you have to be grounded, man. You have to be rooted, man. Like, and that's just really important. It's just really important to be rooted in who you are, and you know, yeah.
We might be getting too far. Let me ask this next thing first, and then we'll come back for a second. Tomorrow on the show, I have uh, Daphne, who has the Dunfield group. She was a member of the third cohort of One and All. And what question would you like me to pass to Daphne?
So, of course, we want to know, what do you do to stay rooted?
And I think you were getting into it, but what do you guys do to stay rooted? Or have you already answered that, maybe?
I think yes, but like, yeah, we can get into more specific.
All right.
One, taking
And
care.
I'm also sensitive of the clock, you guys. I
Yeah.
promised you
Yeah.
3.
Yeah.
So I'll go for longer. It's not a problem with me, but
Yeah, I would say like caring for our plants is a big one.
Yeah.
Just I think one, just the symbolism of literally just pruning and watering and ensuring that your plant's getting enough sunlight and repotting it when its pot is too big is
Yeah.
just it just is so meaningful. So I think that's one thing. But I think for me, like, I go for a walk every morning. My best friend moved to DC recently, and we used to go on walks a lot. So we committed that we would walk every morning together on the phone, and so that really helps me stay rooted. That's the first thing I do when I wake up in the morning is I get up and go for a walk with her. Spending quality time with Paul or our kids really helps me stay rooted. We love playing Uno. That's our game of choice in this house. Yeah, I think just being intentional about the way that I spend my time, instead of just scrolling. Like if I just scroll on Instagram, I feel depleted. I feel like I just wasted 2 hours watching Instagram reels for nothing that didn't provide me with any value in life. So I think just being intentional with the time and who I'm spending that time with and what I'm doing with that time.
And then, for me, in a perfect day, I, obviously like plants, they remind me to be in the present moment, you know. And like, I don't know, it's because, nothing in when you're caring for a plant or you're repotting or whatever you're doing, right? Like nothing matters in that moment but the plant, you know. And so to that really helps me with it. Something I like doing. Can't do it all the time in Michigan because it gets cold, but I like to ground, literally going outside barefooted, connecting for you know an hour. That's ideal. I mean, would like to be ideal, but I have I got kids and everything else going on, and so I can't do it for that long. But doing that and like sunbathing, getting as much vitamin D as possible. Um, all of those things, help me uh, and then spending time with family and because that's the real value, right? Being able to look back and to say that you were there, like really there though, to me that's the most important thing. So yeah.
Just amazing thing after amazing thing after amazing thing. I'm just going to say that because, that's the entrepreneur's regret is that he wasn't there. He was at a meeting. He was, out drinking with at some that's when you turn into an alcoholic and make a bunch of excuses to go to the bar. But those are the regrets and you're managing them now. You're way ahead of it. So this is awesome. Happiness, sadness, joy, hope, or love. Which word or words would you like to talk about? And you guys can pick different ones. You can pick a one together.
I was gonna go with joy, but I think I'm gonna do love.
Yeah, love all the way. Love all the way.
Love would have been my guess that you guys would pick.
Yeah.
But we can do joy and love if you'd like. But let's just talk about love a little bit. You got any? I mean, you two obviously love each other.
Yeah.
And you obviously love your children. I think you love your plants. But what's the spectrum of love kind of look like to you? Because, I say I fall in love with entrepreneurs, but you guys versus my daughter, I'm probably going to go with her, right?
Yeah.
So there's this spectrum thing. I don't know. What do you want to talk about love?
I think this is what it is for me. Truly, I believe that in order to love someone else, you have to love yourself, and I love myself. And I realize that this is gonna sound like crazy, but like I believe that everyone is me pushed out, right? Like we're all connected some way, shape, or form. Like we're all connected. Like what makes your heartbeat is the same thing that makes my heartbeat. It's the same thing that makes Jasmine. So the life force that's within you is within the plants. It's within the world around us, right? And so I love myself, right? And so because I have this love for myself, I have this love for everyone else, right? And obviously, like I'm in love with my wife, like I'm in love with Jasmine. And that's a different, kind of love, I guess. And when I say, not like that, but but yeah, like so, it's just I have this love for myself, and I think that is what this. I don't know if that answers the question, but I think that is the spectrum for me. You gotta love yourself before you can love anyone else.
Yeah.
I like the answer a lot. You want to add anything, Jazz?
I don't even know how. Like that's insane. I will say this, and I don't know how other people in relationships feel.
Shannon, will you answer the door? Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. I don't know how other people in relationships feel, but I always joke with Paul and say I just want to merge with him. Like that's the goal. Is how do we what's his name on The Flash, or what's their name? There's this superhero on The Flash where it's they merge together and they become one superhero, and their strength is greater together.
Yeah.
And I always joke with Paul, how can I get my body within your body? I just want to be so connected.
Yeah.
And so that's what my love feels like for you.
Yeah.
Thank you so very, very much for sharing your love, sharing your energy, sharing your story and your knowledge. And I, I, I said amazing too many times on the show. I need a bunch of more words to describe this, but I appreciate you all very much. And
Yeah, likewise.
what would you like to take us out with?
Taking the church. I don't know. I don't know what we could, leave on except.
I'll say this. Oh, you go ahead.
No,
You
no.
were just gonna say something.
Well, yeah, just something simple, but just being in the present moment. Like that's that's really it's so simple though. Like it is like with your children, with yourself, with your spouse. Just be there, be present, because again, time is the most valuable thing. You can't really get that back. You know what I mean? Like companies are paying you literally for your time, so that should tell you something, right? Like so, be in the present moment, spend that time with yourself and your family, and yeah, live without regrets. If that makes any sense.
Well,
No, don't do that. Yeah, you hear this stuff all the time. Don't.
I was just gonna say like support the south side of Lansing, and you gave us like this super deep end note.
But that's
so.
that's the dynamic sometimes.
Hey.
Because like I'm always going deep. Like and Jazz is like, well, let's keep it at the surface level. Like but I can't help it.
I think, oh, perfect timing. But yes, support the South Side. The South Side needs a little love right now. Is that what you had said, right?
Yeah.
So, and hey, boys, you let him get away. Oh, he heard me. All right. That's Jeremiah right there, right?
Yeah.
Door open. All right. Well, thank you again very much. And everyone, we'll see you tomorrow at 2 with Daphne. And oh man, just stick with me for